One of the great problems that power scaling RPGs face is they tend to have a slow start. You know interesting abilities, the story is so vague there's nothing to follow, level design is overly simple, and it seems the entire first level is set to tutorial difficulty. I won't mince words, my first impressions put Lost Child in the mediocre category, with nothing inherently wrong about it, but nothing to put it above others in the genre. After some significant time in the game though, I found myself hooked. Yes, the story is only serviceable. It's not bad, but it's fairly predictable, and spending the first chunk of the game watching seemingly random cutscenes of pompous angels talking about things that make no sense is only mildly amusing. The soundtrack is fairly forgettable, the voice acting though is well done. The game looks quite nice, considering it's a dungeon delving game, but it can get away with having next to no animations. They did do a good job with making a massive collection of demons to capture that all have vibrant appearances. To sum it up, you capture demons much like Persona or Pokemon, and delve dungeons much like Etrian Odyssey. Unlike Persona though, expect to spend nearly the entire game fighting monsters. Combat becomes far more customizable, and some level of expertise is required on the highest difficulty to get through monsters. You're able to trade abilities, evolve demons, and even restart them at level 1 with stat boosts in the quest to make your ultimate party. There's a sub-party that can be used during combat, making it fairly easy to exploit enemy weaknesses. Bosses become more menacing in each phase, and they're the only enemies that actually telegraph their moves. A threat system, though, lets you know who in your party is most likely to be attacked, and there are abilities which let you increase and decrease threat. This one system adds a lot of depth and strategy to combat that wouldn't be there otherwise, and I would like to see it adopted more often in games like this. Despite this being a massive dungeon crawl, on normal or easy you will never have to grind if you're intent on just seeing the game. Of course, if you intend to make a beast party, it'll require more work, leaving it up to you how much extra time you want to spend playing it. The elemental weakness system is very straightforward, and the way of capturing demons to add to your roster is fairly nice since you can power it up and not have to worry about getting a demon to low health before killing it. You can pay to retry or escape battles if you do happen to perish, as boss battles can be fairly threatening, especially if pursued at too low of a level, and your party does fall if the main character dies. If not for the low cost of escape, these deaths would be frustrating, but you can also gear in a lot stats to your main character to make sure that he's a walking fortress. Level design is probably where the game shines, though it does take a few hours to start to see it. Levels soon become full of puzzles, hidden rooms, and traps, and I found myself both enjoying solving them and from time to time stumped. In most cases, one can get through a level or reach treasure quickly by figuring out hints, but if you can't do so, trial and error will get the job done. Exploration and reaching the stairs can be quite a task in these labyrinths, but there are many shortcuts to make it very easy to return if you need to go back to town. Of course, for a dungeon delve, treasure has to be a major factor. Some is found on the map, but most chests drop after battles and can contain randomized gear. Chests also contain traps though, and each demon has an ability for helping open chests safely. Since gear can only be equipped by your main two characters, even if you don't get lucky, your 3 demons still can do the bulk of damage in fights. However, getting a good weapon or ornament that adds a status effect can really help out. In terms of quality of life touches, items will increase or decrease encounter rates, you can warp to parts of a floor you've been to or out of the dungeon, and there's a spa where you can choose between increased stats to help with bosses, or decreased stats and a buff to XP gain. There's also auto combat and auto move on the map to make grinding a little bit faster, and there's a journal with information on how much of each map you discovered, as well as percentages of demons and items found to help with trophy seekers. The main part of the game is easily 60 plus hours, so the slow start only ends up being a sliver of the game, and that's not including the side dungeon, which is expansive, full of its own puzzles, and includes a wandering boss FOE. I would rate this game as good overall. Yes, it has some flaws, and it will appeal most to those who enjoy dungeon exploration, but for those who like this genre, this is a solid game with a great deal of time to spend perfecting your party. 7 out of 10.
Hey, did you like that video? If you did, be sure to let us know by clicking the like button and leaving a comment. If you want to be first in line for any new content, be sure to subscribe to our channel and then hit up our Facebook page. The link's in the description below to see what's coming up next.